It's so sunny that it's actually difficult for me to see. Today's title, I thought about today's title, and today's title is influencing or shaping a meditation that I'm creating at the moment about changing ourselves. And I had this kind of academic name for this video about changing ourselves, and the academic name, I'll let you know first, and yes, cream and coffee. The academic name is The Courage to Self-Reflect, Breaking the Cycle of Enabling Behaviour, Taking Action in the Face of Unchanging Behaviour from Another. And I thought, oh gee, that's boring. So I'm changing it to, I've had a gutful of myself. It's time to change myself and set my own boundaries. Can you relate to that at all? I certainly can. Adrian's got this phrase, this really cool phrase. He gets to a point with certain things and he goes, I've had a gutful. And when he first said it, I thought, that's a little bit strong. And now I think it's kind of cool, because there's times in life where we need to just call it out and say, I've had a gutful of myself. I'm enabling myself. I'm acquiescing to my own downfall, and I've had enough. There's times we have to set our own boundaries and take ownership for the dynamic we are choosing to be part of. You know those conversations where you may have with friends, or perhaps you have it with yourself, and you say, these people or this person just doesn't change, and you keep talking about how this person doesn't change, and you keep complaining about this other person. But who's doing the interacting, and who's doing the engaging, and who is saying the same stuff, the same rhetoric? I wish they would change. I wish they'd stop doing that. Well, we know that wishing is the thief of being. Who said that? That was one of my quotes. Wishing is the thief of being. We talk about the words should, could, what if, and they're about an uncertain future. What can we do right now? If we continue to engage with another person or a group of people or a couple of people that do things that do not resonate with our behaviours and our ideals, and we associate with them, well, we've got to take a good hard look at ourselves. Now, oh my goodness, I am not excluding myself from this conversation. If anything, I'm talking about myself. I go through adversity, and when I come out the other side, if we ever do, I say to myself, what have I learned, and what changes can I put into place for myself? And then recently I think, in ways I'm repeating my own cycle. And what is the point if I don't stand up and say, I've had a gutful of myself? Now this is a positive, or can be a proactive step, to say, I've had a gutful of myself. But if we continue to say, Arthur and Martha really annoy us because they do A, B, and C, and Arthur and Martha really annoy us in the workplace or in relationship status or neighbours, and we're complaining the same complaints again and again, the finger needs to point back at us. I had a client in mental health that would always do that. He'd point the finger and he'd go, and he was the most amazing person. I just remembered him. He was just beautiful. I've learned so much from people with schizophrenia because their life is so terrible. It really brings everything down to ground zero and makes you think. So I have my notes. Do you ever find yourself in this destructive dynamic where you continue to re-engage with a person or people and you end up eroding your own values? What do we do about that? It is time to take a step back from fixation Take a step back from re-engaging and re-engaging and re-engaging like that mouse on a treadmill that just goes round and round and round, or like Groundhog Day. Is your pattern of re-engaging with a person who is just not changing like Groundhog Day? So what's the message there? It's your job to change, not theirs. It's my job to change, not theirs. I need to have a gutful of myself and accept the truth that I'm choosing to engage with somebody and I am eroding my own standards. It is crucial that we take a step back and look down upon ourselves. If we find ourselves thinking, if I only said that, they would change. If I only did that, they would change. Who am I? What do I stand for? What are my ideals? What are my beliefs? And demonstrate those. Let them be who they are. Isn't that's Mel Robbins' favourite saying at the moment? Let them. I just love that. It's not about being dismissive or apathetic. It's about the cold, hard truth that we cannot change another person. And sometimes when we refuse to believe that, we erode our own standards of behaviour. And that is where we look first. That's our first port of call, is our behaviour. If we find ourselves re-engaging and re-engaging, we are re-engaging and re-engaging, and we need to say stop to ourselves. Nothing to do with them. Nothing to do with them and everything to do with us and the patterns we enable for ourselves and the patterns we acquiesce to ourselves. We deserve more than this. We deserve more from ourselves. Don't you think? When we re-engage and re-engage in this cycle, this dynamic with a personal person that behaves in a destructive way, we take ourselves away from the person we aspire to be, the person we can be, the person we are destined to become. We actually hold up our own white flag and we say, I don't want the best for myself. I don't want to be the best possible version of myself. It's really hard to take a stand because taking a stand is being different. Taking a stand is being dissimilar to others, to refusing to stick with the status quo. Taking a stand means being weird, being different, and that's not easy. But sometimes we need to eat the Brussels sprouts of life, of the main dinner, before we can enjoy the dessert. Just like getting fit for a race, you've got to learn to say no. You've got to learn to say enough is enough, not only from that other person, but from ourselves, because we deserve it. Do you find you have the same argument again and again with a family member or somebody else? The same old, boring argument. Maybe that person always pushes your buttons, or a situation, the same situation keeps arising and arising and arising like a bad smell, and we find ourselves caught in an exhausting cycle. We complain, we vent, we express our dissatisfaction, but we notice we keep talking about the same issue. Stop. Notice where your mind is going. Notice how much time is being taken up with this issue. Notice and stop. You may want to put a rubber band on your wrist and flick it when you find yourself thinking about the same issue or focusing on the same issue. You may want to put an alarm in your iPhone or your phone and notice what you're thinking about and stop. Stop. Because all that's going to do is lead to more fixated behaviours, more of the merry-go-round of destructive thought patterns. And thought patterns become habits, and habits become you, become me. The illusion of control. We have this illusion. Gee whiz, I love this illusion. I wish this was real, that we can change the behaviour of others. We can't. They may choose to be affected by our relationship knowing us. They may choose. Notice those words, they may choose. We can't force them, we can't coerce them, we can't motivate them. They can choose to be motivated. Motivation comes from them, intrinsically, not extrinsically. They choose what to be affected by. If we think we can change another person, oh my goodness, we've lost control. It is an illusion of control. And one of the first steps in changing ourselves and empowering ourselves is understanding it is an illusion. That partner who is unfaithful, that child who is rude, that teenager that stops contact with you, that whatever the situation is, we need to step back and say, that's their choice. What is ours? Our choice is to choose what to think, how to behave, and what values to demonstrate. Our choice is to get off the merry-go-round, focusing on our choice and recognizing that we are choosing to get on that merry-go-round. Just imagine for a moment that merry-go-round, that destructive merry-go-round that's in your family, maybe with your partner at work. You are on that horsey. You are on that horsey. You got on the horsey and you're going around and around. Look around you. You're getting dizzy, very dizzy. Stop the merry-go-round, get off the horse, step off, and stand away from the merry-go-round and watch the pattern. Get off. Get off. Refuse to continue to engage. That may not mean having no contact. It may not. I don't know what it means for you. But it does mean getting off the merry-go-round. If you find yourself repeating the same statements, having the same discussions, focusing or fixating on the same topics, flick that rubber band, listen to that alarm on the phone and stop thought. Stop it. The hard truth is that it's time to say enough is enough. And who are you inherently saying enough is enough to? Yourself. Let them be who they are. Let them have their destructive patterns, their lack of self-awareness. Let them. Own up to the fact that you have your own self-destructive habit of repetition. I have my own self-destructive pattern of believing I can change Arthur, Martha, or Sid. I can't. But if I think I can, I erode my own standards and I blur the boundaries of who I am and I become nothing but a bleating sheep. Let's step away from the herd and say enough is enough and refuse to be on the merry-go-round of somebody else's destructive dynamic. This is not about being angry, necessarily. This is not about being confronting. This is not about being reactive. This is about making the hard calls and saying enough is enough proactively. Think, meditate upon the steps to refuse to engage. Now, this may be through stages. It may be an evolution. But what we do know is reactivity doesn't work. Responding with thought and preparation is more likely to work. Continuing to engage with people that don't change and repeat behaviours only leads to continuing to engage. The merry-go-round going round and round, and we get dizzy, and then we fall over in life, metaphorically. Practical steps for change when we are in this dynamic. First step, very important, is drink coffee with cream. Meditate. If I've got cream on my face, look out to nature, even if it's just a pot plant on your mantle, and set boundaries. The boundaries don't need to be harsh or reactive. They need to be firm. There needs to be a no in there somewhere. A no. A systematic, repetitive no with a redirection of your thought patterns. Once you've set the boundary, it's done. We don't go back and rehash. It's done. Done. Set the boundaries. Identify behaviours you can't tolerate, deal breakers, and set boundaries. Communicate these boundaries clearly and calmly. Boundaries are not about punishing. They're not about another person's behaviour. They are about your behaviour. They are about my behaviour. Boundaries are about protecting ourselves, not making another person behave in a particular way. Because they can run around like a chook without a head. What a phrase. My goodness, a chook without a head. My mum used to say that. Now I'm getting this visual of a chook without a head. It's probably a good visual, isn't it really? Okay, let them be their headless chook, and we set our boundaries. Focus on self-improvement. What can we do to improve ourselves? What are our goals? What are our hobbies? Are we seeing our friends? And this really, because we're such habitual creatures and we love habit, we've got to kind of turn our head away and go, no, don't look at the merry-go-round. No, step away from the merry-go-round. Step away. No, step back. No, like I said to Ruth, sit down, Ruth. Oh, Ruth, she's gone with the kangaroos. Don't go into the paddock with the kangaroos because you will not come out alive. All right, focus on self-improvement. Seek support. Seek professional support. I'm a big one for seeing therapists. I think it can be really grounding to have that third person aspect to it. We can attempt to have our own third person aspect, but sometimes we can get sucked into habit because we are so habitual. There are times we need to step back and say, I can't do this. I'm going to find someone that can help me do this. I have had enough. I will say no. This no is not about punishing people. This no is not about reactivity. This no is about me. Change is hard. It requires courage. But when we take the brave step to reflect on ourselves and our actions, we open the door to a more fulfilling life. There may be a few Brussels sprouts along the way, and not many of us like Brussels sprouts. But in order to enjoy the fruits of our life, we need to eat those Brussels sprouts. We cannot control another person. We can control ourselves. We can say, enough is enough. Or, as Adrian says, I've had a gutful. He's going to laugh when he hears my impression of his voice. I've had a gutful. This journey may be tough, but the rewards are immeasurable because the rewards mean that you become your true self. And no habit, no security in any habit, and no merry-go-round is worth the compromise of your soul, of who you truly are. The meditation will be up probably within the day on how to change ourselves. Let's have a gutful. Let's change ourselves and let them.